Now it is now 15 members have joined. See, before the start professional, registered valuer, as well as as well as a social auditor. Mr. Yogesh Chatwani brings in over 25 years of experience who worked with Maharatna Oil and Gas PSU. He is based out of Ahmedabad. He specializes in indirect taxation and finance. Following his superannuation, Mr. Yogesh Chatwani has gained recognition as a practicing cost accountant, insolvency professional, registered valuer on securities or financial assets class, and a social auditor. And I would like to inform that say he has scored a very impressive score in both examinations of insolvency examination and value examinations. To my memory, he has scored some 75 marks in 70% marks in valuation and more than 80% in insolvency examination. It is, I think, one of the rarest scores as far as my knowledge. He is a frequent faculty member with multiple RVOs and IPAs and ICMI. Mr. Yogesh Chatwani has led numerous workshops at various seminars, both in person and offline, covering diverse topics such as valuation, insolvency law, indirect taxation, social auditing, and costing related and topics. Now I request Mr. Yogesh Chatwani to take over the session and enlighten us on the valuation of patents and trademarks, which is a very important topic for all of us. And as you know, that as the businesses are improving, the valuation of patents and trademarks is gaining importance. So that's why I feel that it is an apt subject topic for today's discussion. And let us hear from Mr. Yogesh Chatwani with his varied experiences, then his knowledge and in-depth knowledge in the subject will enlighten us. I request Mr. Yogesh Chatwani to take over.
Thank you, Siva Prasad sir, and thank you for that kind information, for your kind words. And I know you have always remained my admirer, sir. So very kind of you, sir. And good morning to each one of you. Happy morning to each one of you. First of all, I would like to actually express my sincere thanks to the management, to the office bearers of the Bangalore Valuer Association for giving me this valuable opportunity. So, as Siva Prasad Saab informed us, today we are going to discuss about evaluation of the patents and trademark. We all know patents and trademark fall under the IPR, intellectual property right, and in turn, intellectual property rights fall under the intangible asset. So the evaluation of intangible, that has always remained challenging. I am not telling here that evaluation of other application that is not challenging or less challenging. But we all appreciate the fact that the valuation of intangible has remained very challenging because of the fact that the majority of the intangible that are off balance sheet item, not reflected in the financial statement. That is as per the guidance which is provided under the financial reporting framework. So, as per the finding of a recent survey, around two-third of the total value of intangible asset globally, that is off balance sheet. That is not reflected in the financial statement. So we all will appreciate the items which are off balance sheet, the items which are not reflected in the financial statement. Estimation of value or finding true worth of that will always remain challenging. So we will actually going to discuss about that. And with that brief introduction, please allow me to share my PPT. I will take just 1 minute. Topic of the discussion, valuation of patents and a trademark. And my sincere request to each one of you, please make this session as knowledge sharing session, as experience sharing session. We all are professional, and actually don't treat me as faculty. Participate, actively participate in this session, make that interactive, which will be in our mutual interest. We all practically learn from each other every day, because as we know, the field of valuation, the field of insolvency, that is having a very wide coverage. And particularly in today's era of uncertainty, the knowledge sharing, experience sharing, that is of vital importance. So valuation of patents and trademark, and this is actually, I have taken a certain statistics to reflect the importance of valuation. So this I have taken from the Brand Finance website, or their annual report. So that is for 2023. As we all are aware, Brand Finance, that is leading consulting firm in the field of intangible. And this slide will give you the information about the global value composition trend, which is reflected the tangible net asset, the disclosed intangible asset, the disclosed goodwill, and undisclosed value. So what I'm trying to highlight this particular information is for the years between 1996 and 2023. And as you can see, the value of undisclosed intangible, that is increasing year by year, that is registering more growth consistently. And as we can see in 2021, that was highest, that was estimated to be around 61 trillion US dollar, 61 trillion US dollar. And that has actually come down to around 46 trillion US dollar. So that is the value of undisclosed intangible. And as we can see, the value of the disclosed intangible, that is very minimal, the disclosed goodwill and a disclosed intangible asset. So disclosed intangible, as we all are aware, that is mainly, actually majority of this will be a part of mergers and acquisition transaction. Goodwill and disclosed intangible asset, a majority of that will be a part of the mergers and acquisition transaction. So in other words, the companies which have grown organically, so organic growth, so they actually may not, the value of that may not be reflected in the financial statement, and that may be part of this undisclosed. And this is again the information related to the listed entity. So we can very well imagine the value of such asset for the unlisted entity or the private company. So that is about that. And sectors. So we all know the companies now are becoming the modern age company. They are now becoming the asset lean company. So their tangible asset base is very minimal, and they derive value out of their intangible asset only. So as we can see through this information, around 81% value, the internet and software company, that they derive from undisclosed value of intangible. So in sectors like internet and software, that is highest at 81%, followed by household product at 70%, a personal care again 70%, and so on. So this will give you idea actually the tangible net asset in internet and a software company, that is just 10% of the total value of asset. That is just 10%. And internet and software company, they mainly derive a valuation out of their intangible. So that will highlight the significance of a valuation of intangible in today's ever changing dynamic world. So that is very, very important. And these slide will actually provide the information about the intangible stock exchange wise in the world. So as we can see, our national stock exchange of India, so that is having a valuation of intangible, estimated a value of total intangible. So that is around 1.78 trillion US dollar, whereas the same in Bombay Stock Exchange, that is estimated at around 0.92 trillion US dollar. So that is the worth of intangible of the public company, of the listed company at various stock exchanges in the world. And these are top 10 intangible companies going by a 2023 estimation. So as we can see, Apple, that is number one company, and their value of total intangible, that is estimated at around 2,681 billion US dollar, and that has registered a growth of around 16.7% over 2022. So as we can see, mainly here, either these are IT company or these are the e-commerce company. One exception is the actually a petroleum company. As we all are aware, after the ongoing war between Russia and Hamas, the price or the costing of crude oil and petroleum product, that has increased multifold, and that may actually be the reason the this particular petroleum company, Saudi Aramco, they are deriving, or they are finding uh, 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 their name in the list of top 10 intangible companies of 2023 in the world. So that is about the top 10 intangible. Now we will appreciate actually the fact of importance of intangible from actually the actual presentation by these company before their shareholders. So I have taken this particular portion from the Microsoft annual report of 2023. And here actually I would like to highlight two, three things. So we are a leader among technology company in pursuing the patent, and currently have a portfolio over 70,000 US and international patents. So that is very important. That is the size of intangible, that is the size of IPR, and within IPR, just one asset, that is the patent, one intangible, a patent. So 70,000 US and international patent. So that will highlight the importance of valuation. And apart from that, over 19,000 pending worldwide. So that will actually, volume itself will speak about the importance of these IPR. So how actually they develop the IPR. So we employ much of our internally development intellectual property, internally developed intellectual property in our product and services, and we also engage in outbound licensing of specific patented technology that are incorporated into licenses product. So licensing, that is one of the important revenue generating source in case of IPR, in case of IPR. And from time to time we enter into broader cross license agreement with other technology company covering entire groups of patents, covering entire groups of patent. So that is very important. They are engaged in a purchase or licensing of the technology, and that they incorporate into their product and services. So very important information which we got from this is related to number of patents which are registered in a name of just one company, Microsoft, and the type of transaction they undertake related to patent, so that they have actually internally developed intellectual property. They are engaged in outbound licensing and in purchasing of the intangible. Each of these you will appreciate will need the evaluation. Will need the evaluation. Yet another portion I have taken from the Apple annual report of 2023. Apple, as we have seen, that is number one company in the world. So the company holds a significant number of patent, trademark, copyright, and has registered and applied to register additional patent, trademark, and copyright. So number they have not given, but that volume is very high. So in contrast, many of the company competitor seek to compete primarily through aggressive pricing and a very low cost structure, and imitating the company's product and infringing on its intellectual property. So company like Apple, which is number one company in the world related to possession of intangible, they are expressing the fear about the infringement of their intangible asset, infringement of their intangible asset, and that will highlight actually important factor for consideration in our evaluation exercise. We may come with any financial projection, any high value estimate, but ultimately whether those will hold good, whether actually the risk of infringement, how that risk is, measurement of that will always become challenging. Measurement of that will always become challenging. And effective intellectual property protection that is not consistently available in every country in which the company operates. Now, if you go to North Korea, if you go to China, whether you will get that type of protection to your IPR rights, that will always become questionable. So that fear is expressed by the a company like Apple also, and company is unable to continue to develop and sell innovative new product with attractive margin. So actually, once it is innovative, so they will actually certainly like to have protection under the IPR law, and once they have the protection under IPR law, intellectual property law, so naturally, their product will command the premium, and that will ultimately result in attractive margin. Or if competitor infringe on the company's intellectual property, company's ability to maintain a competitive advantage, that could materially adversely affect it. So that type of fear actually is expressed by a company like Apple, which is having global presence, which is number one company in the world, actually having high value of intangible. So what I am trying to highlight is these are the consideration ultimately which we need to take in our evaluation exercise, which we need to take in our evaluation exercise. Now, this is the Amazon, again, Amazon annual report. So, actually, this is related to the claim filed against the Amazon related to infringement. So, this is the other side of the story, actually. And this particular company, Broadband ITV, filed a complaint against Amazon Services LSC and Amazon Web Services in the United States District Court. Now, what is the actually the claim made by that? So I will just actually highlight that only. This broadband ITV alleged in its damage report that in the event of finding of liability, Amazon could be subject to 166 to 986 million US dollar in damages. So the court granted a summary judgment holding that patents are invalid, and broadband ITV filed a notice of appeal, and we dispute the allegations of wrongdoing, and will continue to defend ourselves vigorously. So that is another issue which I am highlighting. Apart from infringement, the ongoing lawsuit. Always there will be ongoing litigation when we are talking about the IPR, intellectual property right. So in evaluation, we need to consider this litigation, and we all will appreciate the quantification of ultimate liability, which may result in a litigation. That will always be a challenging affair. That will always be a challenging issue. So that is from the Amazon, and this is our own company, Tata Consultancy Services, and this is from their annual report for 22 23. So as of March 31st, 2023, 7,305 patents have been registered or filed by the company, and 2878 have been granted. So that is actually will highlight how many are pending. See, out of 7,305 as at 31st March 2023, so protection patent rights are given only against 2,878. So that will highlight about the pendency of patent, and that is another consideration which we need to make in evaluation of IPR. Dependency of application filed before the concerned office of the intellectual property right. So that is a very important. And TCS has won many awards relating to IP, including ACIP Elite Award 2022 being exemplar of IP value creation. So, despite that IP value creator, there such a large number of applications have been pending. So that is TCS. Each of these will highlight the importance. And these are the components of S&P 500 market value. S&P, as we all are aware, indices in US. So these are the largest companies, 500 companies, going by the market capitalization, perhaps in the world. So that will highlight, actually, if we see in 1975, so this S&P 500 company, 83% of their market value that derived from the tangible asset. And that role of intangible asset, a value of intangible asset, worth of intangible asset in 1975, that was just 17 percentage. That was just 17 percentage. Come 2020, and intangible, that is 90%. That is 90%, and only a 10% a value, that market value, that is from tangible asset base. So we are used to make a valuation of tangible asset, but going forward, the companies are becoming asset linked company, and actually a main component of the value or worth of a company or a business entity, that will be from intangible asset. So that I need to highlight the importance of valuation of IPR. Now, as we discussed, actually, the very high value, around a two-third of the total value of intangible globally, that is out of the coverage of the financial statement, that is off balance. So, in that respect, actually, the standard setter, they have a role to play. Many experts nowadays, they actually highlight the need for a reflection, a need for reporting of intangible asset, particularly the internally generated intangible asset, homegrown intangible asset. That guidance on that is needed within the framework of financial reporting standard. So the IASB, International Accounting Standard Board, which is responsible for development of IFRS, International Financial Standard. So they are aware of this, and they have already included this particular point in their agenda item. So this portion I have taken, this is latest one, July 2024, current month. So this is from their staff paper, agenda reference, accounting standard advisory forum, a meeting which is slated in July 2024, that is current year. So, what are the questions put forward before this accounting standard advisory forum members? So, number one, actually, a stakeholder, especially users of financial statement, rated a project on intangible asset as high priority. So, this is a high priority. Actually, it was this project was kept in their pipeline for a considerable period, and now they have attached high priority of that. So what better? The users of financial statement need better information about recognizing and unrecognized intangible asset, recognized and unrecognized both. So IAS International Accounting Standard 38, that is old accounting standard, that needs to be modernized for increasing importance of intangible asset in today's business model. In today's business model, a new type of intangible asset like cryptocurrency, or a new ways of accessing intangible asset like software as a service. So we all are aware, actually we are living in the era of cloud computing. We have platform as a service, software as a service arrangement. So that is not envisaged within IAS 38 was developed. And IAS 38 is too restrictive, very important, too restrictive about when internally generated intangible asset are recognized, and when intangible assets are measured at fair value using the revaluation model. So that is too restrictive. And because of that, as we discussed, around a two-third of the value of total intangible that has remained off balance sheet. So lack of comparability due to differing requirement for internally generated and acquired intangible assets. So that is the question we come across in other evaluation assignment also. Like when we are doing the evaluation of a business entity of a company, going by the market approach. So market approach, as we all are aware, that is relative approach, and that is based on the comparable transaction, or the comparable multiple, whatever we may take it. And in that, actually, if the comparable, that is that is developed through organic method, and the target company or subject company, that is developed through acquired intangible assets. So how to normalize that? How to normalize that? Because one has registered organic growth, another has registered growth through acquisition. So these are different, and normalization of that in evaluation, that is always challenging. That is always challenging. So that will not provide comparability. So lack of comparability due to a differing requirement from for internally generated and acquired intangible asset. So actually, you can see a company over a period of time, they have earned a certain intangible, a value of a certain intangible, but because that is internally generated, that is not reflected in their financial statement. But a B company acquires A company, and all of a sudden, a value which was not part of the financial statement of A company, that will be reflected in B company. So, the company which is responsible for a creation of this asset, they are not probably getting a full advantage of their efforts put into on those intelligence. So that is actually the question which is now raised by many companies, many expert in the field. So a lack of comparable differing requirement, internally generated and acquired intangible assets. So all this will come into play in evaluation. And now actually what I will do, I will highlight certain material related to this only in a few minutes. So I will stop sharing this and let me share this important material, which is latest one. So this is actually the this is the staff paper which I just highlighted. This is the staff paper which I highlighted, IFRS accounting, and purpose of this session, and the question and background, project scope, project approach. So all that is actually highlighted here, and this is what we actually seen. IAS 38 is old accounting, and the how it these are recognized, and what are the views, background research by national standard setter. So that is actually they have highlighted, and the general agreement on need to improve information disclose. So that is the general view of the expert. And actually, there are mixed views on how well financial statements show a value of internally generated intangible asset. Some suggest changes to accounting standard are needed to maintain a value relevance of financial statement. Others suggest sufficient information presented in the income statement about unrecognized internally generated intangible assets. So both these scenario situation will increase the work of a valuer, registered valuer like all of us in a future, once these guidance come within the framework of financial reporting standard. Because reporting in financial statement will need the measurement, and probably that may open up a very high volume of opportunity for evaluation of intangibles, for evaluation of intangible. Now we will not go into detail of this. This is a very detailed paper agenda items. Another thing I need to highlight is this is UK endorsement board, United Kingdom endorsement board. So this is just a recent report, May 2024. I hope that is visible. This is related to accounting, a quantitative analysis of UK financial report. Quantitative analysis of UK financial report. So in India also, I feel there is a need to make a similar type of a financial analysis of the intangible asset, So that is actually the unrecognized intangible and next steps. So if we go there, so estimating unrecognized intangible, that is always of our interest. That is always of our interest. So in this actually, they have suggested a way out how to make valuation of the intangible asset which are not part of the financial statement. So they have suggested this perpetual inventory method, a perpetual inventory method. So given that internally generated intangible, I have highlighted this in green. I hope you are able to see that. Given that internally generated intangible, these are largely expensed under the IAS 38 recognition criteria, it is reasonable to assume that a portion of company's cost would include expenditure related to intangible item, which could provide a future economic benefit, which could provide a future economic benefit. So once it is actually capable of providing a future economic benefit, that should be actually reflected under the balance sheet and not under the income statement, not under the income statement. But because of very nature of intangible, perhaps actually there is no guidance how to recognize that in the balance sheet, how to recognize that is asset instead of as expenditure. So that is actually way out of that is provided here. So for example, a company's cost may include advertising expenses contributing to a company's brand, or a training expenses contributing to a company's human capital, contributing to a company's human capital. And an approach taken by the academic literature to estimate unrecognized intangible, that is to capitalize a predetermined share of company's general cost, predetermine a share of a company's general cost, and share of cost capitalized varies between study. For example, this particular PNT, a widely cited paper in this area way back in 2017. So they recast 30% of selling general and administrative expenditure as investment in intangible. So perhaps we will get a benchmark, a very important information from the perspective of evaluation of intangible, including the IPR, intellectual property right. And we all know patent trademark is part of IPR, intellectual property right. So wherever we come across an assignment related to evaluation of intangible asset which is not part of the financial statement, the undisclosed intangible, the internally generated intangible, the homegrown intangible. So we may take these actually 30% of selling general and administrative expenditure as investment in intangible. So same study use 5 year as an amortization period. So very important. Once you actually reflect that in a financial statement, in a balance sheet, so that should not be indefinitely. Each asset need to have the estimated life. So they have estimated the life of such undisclosed intangible at 5 year, at a 5 year. Though again a period vary between study. So it is acknowledged that this method is based on a several assumptions and can only lead to an approximation of unrecognized intangible. However, its widespread use in the academic literature suggests that it can provide a useful estimate of order of magnitude for unrecognized intangible. And using this approach will allow an estimate to be made of unrecognized intangible at market level, together with the more granular estimate broken down by industry, company size, and index constituency. So that is actually I wanted to highlight this from this particular paper, very important. And this is the estimated value of unrecognized intangible asset in United Kingdom listed entity. Remember, these are only a listed entity. This will not include the estimated value of private company. Still, as we can see in 2021, so that is actually highlighted. If we take estimation inputs at 30% of selling general and administrative expenses and 5 year amortization period, that is 20% amortization. So that is estimated at around 298 billion British pound, 298 billion British pound. So that is actually the volume of unrecognized intangible asset for a UK listed entity. And this, if it is taken at 20% of SG and a 15% amortization, so that will be around a 242 billion British pound, 242 billion British pound. So that will actually give you an idea how to make valuation. We go by a thumb rule. So this is best example of going by thumb rule for estimation of the value of unrecognized asset. I hope this will be helpful in your future endeavor. So we need valuation for valuation of intangible for financial reporting, for valuation of business enterprise, for valuation of equity. So there are host of application where we will need this, and these are the estimated unrecognized intangible, a share of total asset by industry. So consumer discretionary, as we can see, that is 24%, technology, industrial, real estate. So these are the actually 11 sector which are recognized world over. GICS, Global Industry Classification Standard. If you go by that, there are 11 sector which are globally recognized. So industry-wise estimation they have provided here. And this is the summary. If you find this useful, you can very well download all this paper from the internet. It is available free of cost on the internet. And this is accounting for intangible stakeholders view. This is old March 2023. And in this, you will get stakeholder suggestion for potential improvement, opportunities, and challenges. So that they have given a very good information in this, particularly the removing differentiation between tangible and intangible item, then a separate standard for a different class of intangible. So these are just their view. Ultimately, what will come that we will have to await. And this is actually another paper, a very recent paper related to actually the presentation made by this UKSB before the IASB, or before this forum, that is the Forum of Accounting Standard Advisory. So that is, I hope this was useful. I am just actually highlighting the recent development in the field of valuation of intangible. I hope you found this useful. All these documents are available on internet free of cost, based on your interest, academic interest or a requirement. You may download that. Now we will go again to my PPT. So that is about that. And this is the legal framework of IPR in India. So that is just brief about that. We have the Patent Act of 1970. We have a Design Act of 2000, Trademark 1999, a Geographical Indication of Goods Act 1999, Copyright Act of 1957, Protection of Integrated Circuit Layout and Design Act of 2000, and Protection of Plant Variety and a Farmer Right Act of 2001. So as we know, patents or trademarks, these are creator of law. These are created out of statutory provision. So in valuation, we need to have a very fair overview of legal framework, legal provision, statutory provision, regulatory guidance. So very important legal framework in India related to IPR. And these are the objective of IPR evaluation, illustrative in nature. So we may require evaluation in mergers and acquisition transaction, in licensing and royalty, patents, trademark, actually wherever it is given on a license or for the purpose of measurement of royalty, we will need the evaluation. Strategic decision making by the management, by the promoters, by the investors. Financial reporting, we all know there are events, situation, scenario which will need IPR valuation for the purpose of financial reporting. And one such transaction is PPA, purchase price allocation. So as we all are aware, under a PPA, we need to make valuation of identifiable intangible asset, identifiable intangible asset. Wherever actually IPR are a part of identifiable intangible. During a PPA, purchase price allocation exercise, we need to estimate the fair value of that. So for financial reporting purposes, and apart from that, as we all are aware, impairment testing under a financial reporting standard. So again, evaluation of IPR will be needed. Risk management. So risk of intangible that will always be high, and that will require continuous monitoring, a continuous measurement, a continuous evaluation. Capital investment decision or borrowing decision evaluation will be needed. Litigation and dispute resolution, infringement claim, and other type of litigation or a dispute, and securing a finance. So these are the basic objective for which IPR evaluation will be needed. Now, patent and trademark. So we all know the meaning. We all are professional, but this is just since this particular session is related to that. So we will just recap. Patents, as we all are aware, these are exclusive rights to use, make, sell, distribute, and innovation. Invention. Actually, as we all are aware, patents are granted for innovation having the commercial use. So that is very important. So that will provide inventor the exclusive right to use, make, sell, or distribute. And then that is, these are the criteria, these are the condition for getting and patent. So that need to be new, invention need to be novel, new, and that need to be useful, commercial use, and non-obvious. And duration, as we all are aware, that is typically granted for a period of 20 years. That is the maximum period for which it is granted, but there are a certain provision under the patent law to grant extension, and apart from that there are a certain provision for a compulsory licensing in a public good. There are a certain provision for a cancellation, for a withdrawal of the patent right. So we need to be very particular about those legal provision when actually the provisions of compulsory licensing will be invoked by the patent granting authority, or when we can get the extension, or when actually, although the maximum life is 20 years, for the purpose of valuation we will need the effective economic life. So that may be actually a 5 year or 10 year or 3 year. So that is very challenging determine the economic life of the patent. Copyright, we all are aware that actually identifies the goods or services, distinguishes from a competitor. And these are word, a phrase, symbol, and a design. And a duration, that is lifetime of the author. So wherever actually that is related to publication of books and all, so that is lifetime of the author plus 60 year from the year following death of the author, or until 60 years from the date of publication. So depending upon the type of copyright, the duration of a copyright will come into play. So this is just a brief meaning of patent and copyright. A recap of that, since our today's topic is related to evaluation of patent. Now, this famous quote actually, whenever I actually think of evaluation of patent, so this is very old quote which is relevant today. This is of 1851. 1851. So at that time also it was predicted patents are like lottery, in which there are a few prizes and great many blanks, great many blanks. So always we should keep this quote into consideration whenever we are doing the evaluation, whenever we are doing the evaluation of patent, because as we know, the patents are granted for innovation. Now, whether that innovation will be accepted by the consumer or not, that will always remain a question. So, what is the actually a possibility of scaling? What is the possibility of acceptance by the consumers? Actually, what is the possibility of not having a similar product in the market in the near future? What is the possibility of a change in consumer preference in the near future? All these factors will determine the value of patent. So ultimately, that will be a lottery. We may have actually a certain valuable patent, but majority of that may turn out to be a blank. Majority of that may be turn out to be blank. So we need to be a very conservative in arriving at the value of patent. We always need to remember this fact. Patents are like lottery, in which there are a few prizes and great many blanks. Few prizes and great many blanks. So that we always need to remember. Now, patent actually, that as we discussed, that is a collaborative effort across the team. So that is not one man job. Teamwork will be required. We may actually be capable of making a valuation, but we cannot make a valuation of patent in isolation. We cannot make a patent or a valuation of patent in isolation. That will need efforts from all the team. So before we go into this, what I will try and highlight a actually actual evaluation report, so that we may come to know about the intricacy of evaluation. So I will stop sharing this. Give me just 1 minute, and I will highlight a evaluation report. I hope all of you are with me. And if you have any suggestion, any feedback about your expectation from this session, so you are welcome to give that. Otherwise, I will proceed as I have planned. So any feedback till now, because it is nearly 1 hour now since we started.
We are good, sir. I think we are following whatever you are mentioning.
Yogesh ji, this is Company Secretary Arvind Kohli from Gurgaon, and I'm a registered valuer as well. You're really doing a wonderful job. It's going great, very well explained, and we are getting it as you're explaining. I would request if you can share this presentation so that we may read it again and again and try to analyze more and understand it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So kind of you, actually. And I will definitely share this PPT if you find that useful.
Yes, sir.
So let me proceed actually as planned. So just a minute. So this is just a sample evaluation report. This is just a sample evaluation report. And as is highlighted, this is international patent publication. Actually, as we all are aware, a patent, right? There is an international patent treaty, and actually whoever are the members of that international patent treaty, they can make application for patent in multiple jurisdiction. As we all are aware, the world has now become a global village. World has now become a global village. So the multinational company that has become a very common. Companies doing a business in multiple countries. So that is very common. And inventor, as we all are aware, how much effort they put in for a new invention. And once they come out with new invention, so naturally they would like to have a value for that. So actually, this patent application that is not just filed in one country, but the inventor would always like to file the application in multiple countries. So this is a international patent publication, and this is related to wristwatch by a citizen. That is, inventors are so and so, and this is the filing date, publication date by the patent office, and priority date. So that publication can be done in a priority also, or the scrutiny or assessment of the application that can be done in a priority also. So all that is usual, and this is the overview of patent. So that is actually a patent valuation that will mainly highlight this claim. So claim about the new invention, and based on this claim, the opponents of these patent rights can file their objection before the patent office. So as you can see, this is technical in nature. This is technical in nature. Like if we read just one claim, so a first drive mechanism including pointer, a wheel train, and a drive source having rotation axis in a first direction, and a pointer, a train wheel, and drive source having a rotation axis in a second direction, different from the first direction, and a second drive mechanism wherein the first drive mechanism and the second drive mechanism are provided separately. So this type of claim, mainly this is technical in nature. We may actually be conversant in finance, in valuation, but the technology, we all will appreciate that is not our subject. So this will need assistance from the technology team. So that is how I actually highlighted evaluation of patent, evaluation of IPR. That is a team effort, not actually limited just to the registered valuer. So these are the claim. As you can see, number of claims made, claim 1 to 11 in this page, and there is claim 12 and 13, and a relevant drawing of the proposed inventive subject matter. So they have given a drawing of this wristwatch and the technology overview, and the patent evaluation approach. So very important, they have gone by the what is the size of the market. So since they are dealing in a global market, they need to have an overview of market size of these particular product globally. So you will appreciate that a valuer cannot estimate the market size of individual product, and there actually the need or assistance from the sales team, from the marketing team will be needed. Marketing team will be needed. So that is just I want to highlight. This is a team effort. So they were given, and then annual growth rate, the market penetration or the market share, and price per unit. So price per unit, again, the assistance from costing department, from marketing department, from management, from key managerial officer, all that will be needed. And the estimated profit margin, technology readiness. So actually, estimate will become based on the technology readiness. We may estimate production will start in next 1 month, but whether that will actually accomplished or not, that target will actually be accomplished or not, whether the technology readiness is there or not. So that need to be ascertained, and then the discount factor to eliminate risk associated with IP grant or enforcement. Actually, it is not that today we submit the application and tomorrow we will get the patent in all the jurisdiction where we have made the application. So suitable actually consideration for that need to be built in the discount rate. As we all are aware, there are two components of the discount rate, the time value of money and a risk associated with accrual or estimation of the projected cash flows. So that actually a risk associated with IP grant or enforcement that need to be suitably built in the discount rate. And then we have the discount factor. So that is assumed at 30%. So as we all are aware, wherever the risk is high, a discount rate will be high and value will be less. So that is the discount rate. And since they are dealing in multiple countries, currency depreciation factor they have considered. And then there is number crunching. So we all are actually proficient in number crunching. Valuation of patent is not a number crunching. That is what is part of the Excel sheet calculation that we can do. Now there are automated evaluation models also. We all know as per the revised international standard, which is actually notified on 31st of January 2025. Now, use of AVM or automated evaluation model that is now actually formally recognized under the international evaluation standard. So the role of a valuer will become limited going forward. A calculation that may not remain the actually role of valuer. A presentation or preparation of valuation report that may be actually model driven. What is required from the valuer, what will be expected from the valuer is having intricacy of the factors which are related to the valuation. So that is very important. And these are just estimated. So they have taken a 10-year estimated, and then they have arrived at this valuation: annualized market share, annual growth rate, market share, sales volume, price per unit, annual turnover, profit margin, a profit before tax, tax reduction. So once we consider all the factor, probably this calculation will become easy. And finally, as we can see, they have arrived at a value of around 174 crore, 174 crore of this patent. And this is again a very important this relevant search result. So in a patent, that is very important to make search whether actually some other inventor has already registered a claim on a claim for grant of a grant of patent for the similar type of innovation, a similar type of invention. So that search actually a very important in actually a patent application. So that will require help from our legal team. So these are actually related for prior arts, and they've actually explain the search result and how that is different, present application, how that is different from previous related prior art, so that they need to explain in the application. So this is a detail one. So this just I highlighted of how actually the evaluation report for a patent is prepared and what type of efforts will be needed. So this is actually this is as we discussed, this is a collaborative effort across team evaluation of patent. So actually that will require R&D to undertake the technical feasibility, the legal team to determine the legal strength of the patent, business development team, so they need to determine the market potential, finance team, so they need to make the financial projections and evaluation, and marketing, so commercial strategy. Marketing team will finalize the commercial strategy. And if we go into detail, so this is just I have highlighted what is the role of each of these team. So legal team, they will evaluate the patent's legal status, enforceability, a scope of protection, and they will also make assessment of any existing or potential litigation that could affect the patent's value. So that will be the role of legal team. Very important to provide crucial insight into a legal risk which are associated with the patent and any regulatory changes that could impact its future utility and exclusivity. Overnight, as we all are aware, statutory provisions change. And so, what can be the possible impact of anticipated regulatory or statutory changes, not only in one country but in multiple country where these type of application, patent grant applications are filed. Then R&D team, so they actually assess patents underlying technology, and they will make evaluation of the innovation level, potential for obsolescence. We all know we are living in the era where the pace of technological upgradation, the degree of technological upgradation, that is very high. If we assess technology which we are making use of today and 5 year back, so we will find sea change in that. We will find sea change in that. So this will always remain the fear of obsolescence and possible alternative technology, a possible alternative technology. And this R&D team will actually contribute in arriving at a realistic understanding of technological landscape and patents relevance and applicability. Then we have the marketing and sales team. So they will actually provide insight into market dynamics, competitive environment, potential market share, penetration strategies for a product derived from the patent, and their contribution, that is commercial viability and profitability of patent, impacting a valuation outcome significantly. That will be the role of marketing and sales team. Business development team, so they need to identify a strategic opportunity for patent, like a potential licensing deal, a joint venture, partnership that could enhance the patent's value. One important actually the development, actually we can derive a value through a patent trolls also, a patent troll. We are living in the era of social media, and we are familiar with trolls on social media. Now, very interesting to know, there are entities which are involved in a patent trolls. Patent troll. So what they actually do exactly, they ascertain which entity has got a patent for a what, which entity has got a patent for a what, and they also determine is there any other entity which are making use of a same patented technology or any other patented technology. So they have a market intelligence. They have actually infrastructure for market intelligence. And once they come across, naturally they will ascertain high value patent trolls only. They will be involved in high value transaction only. So once they come across any situation where patented technology is used by other entity, so what they will do, they will make offer to the original inventor. They will buy that, or they will get license for that and for a particular region, and then they will file a lawsuit against the other entity who are making use of that patented technology, and they will make earning out of that. So in today's world, anything is possible. Business development. So this just reminded me about the patent trolls, the mechanism of a patent troll, and this business development team. So that will provide insight into how patent can be leveraged commercially in new market or with a different application. The finance team, so they will develop the financial model to project future cash flow generated by the patent, and they will deliver the financial model that will reflect the economic benefit. The external consultant or the valuation expert, so they will perform the actual valuation using accepted methodology like income cost or market approach, and they will ensure that valuation adhere to the industry standard best practices, enhancing creditability and reducing the bias. So all this very important. I think this will give you a overview of a patent evaluation. You can visualize this. not easy valuation of patent, particularly the valuation of those patent which may result in very high value revenue, high value generation of revenue. So that is about the valuation of patent. It is a team effort. That what I need to highlight. Now, maximizing the patent value. Once you get the patent, once actually the inventor has got the patent, next item on his or her or it agenda will be how to maximize the value out of that. What are the avenues? What are the alternatives? What are the scenario? What are the situation from which the value of patent can be maximized? So that is through licensing, very important. So enable other entity to use invention in exchange of revenue, that is the royalty payment. In majority of the cases, this is done. And if you come across any licensing arrangement of a particular patent, so straight away you can make use of the market approach to arrive at the evaluation, because precedent transaction will always be available, and you can also make use of that for a similar type of patent, of course with a certain adjustment, with a certain adjustment. So that is one way, one avenue of deriving value from the patent right, the licensing. Then a sale or auction, there are a platform actually which auction the IPR. There are marketplace related to that on internet. If you search, you will come across. So consider this option when maintaining a patent is no longer a strategy. So I have made certain invention, but I find actually that is not useful to me strategically. I am actually, once I have found the patent, once I have got the patent, next is making commercial production of that new technology, of that new invention. That should actually be of some commercial or industrial use. Then only I will get the patent. So if I am unable to create infrastructure for a production or a manufacturing, so what I will do, I will actually explore the possibility of selling that patent. So that is actually another avenue through which I can maximize the value of my new invention. Sale or auction of patent. I consider this option when maintaining a patent is no longer strategic. A product development. So innovate and develop new product under a patent production to maintain a technological leadership. So once I get actually a patent for a particular technology, always there will be always there will be opportunity to expand that invention, to create more technology out of that. And since I have exclusive right to make use of that technology, I am holding the patent. So I have the opportunity to innovate further, develop new product under the patent products. Enforcement. So that is another way. If any other entity is making use of my patented technology, I can enforce the patent. I can assert my patent right, and actually file infringement suit against that entity, or make out of a court settlement with that entity. And that is through enforcement also, there is possibility of maximizing the patent value. So vigilantly monitor the market for any infringement, and market expansion, seek patent protection in multiple key market globally. So this is the avenue. These are the situation scenario through which we can maximize the patent value. In valuation, this is very important. All this we need to have a checklist. These are the scenario through which we can derive the value, through which we can measure the value, through which we can estimate the value. So maximizing the patent value. And these are the consideration before a patent evaluation. What a consideration we need to take into account before we embark on the final journey of making a patent evaluation. So number one, actually the patent validity status. Patent validity status. So whether the patent is legally valid patent, and what is the renewal status. So wherever a renewal clauses are applicable, what is the present status of that renewal, and whether there are chances of future litigation, ongoing litigation, whether actually application has been made, and whether the other entity has made any objection, whether patent has finally been granted, whether after a grant of patent, whether any objections have been filed by other entity. All this we need to consider in arriving at the value of patent. Then patent documentation. So what is the patent history right from the R&D stage till a final grant of a patent right? So that will include a host of document, the technical document, the legal document, the application document, the correspondence with the patent office. All that will be part of patent documentation. Comprehensive patent document we need to have in our record before starting with the evaluation of a patent. So these are the prerequisite: a scope and a patent protection, technological scope of the patent, and technological coverage and geographical coverage. So that we need to ascertain before arriving at the evaluation. A remaining patent life, again, a very important. We discussed actually patents are normally granted for a period of 20 years, but in today's world of fast changing technology, it may happen that that will be a 5 year. That may have be a 5 year. So that is actually the remaining patent life. So what is the expiration date? What is the economic life of the patent? And strategic licensing. So selective licensing, exclusive licensing, all that we need to, whether we need to give exclusive license to one entity for one region, for one state, for one geographical area, for one country or multiple country, all that we need to determine. Or we can give a license to the multiple entity, selective licenses. So that is very important. Now, as I can see, there is one question from Singh sir: when a patent evaluation will start? So that will depend upon the purpose of valuation, sir. Supposing you are doing a valuation of patent as part of purchase price allocation. So at the time of reporting of identifiable intangible asset, at the time of measurement of fair value of identifiable intangible asset for the purpose of financial reporting in the books of accounts of the acquirer, you need to do the evaluation of patent. Supposing it is for actually borrowing purpose. So supposing I am a startup entity and I need funding, borrowing from actually venture capitalists. So even if I have made the invention and application is pending, still I can have the estimated value of that. So purpose will determine, sir, the purpose will determine. So that is how we can do. And we are just doing theory. So, sir, what are your expectations? May I actually that is how I informed you. What are your expectations? You give feedback on that. So what are your expectations, sir? A valuation, a patent valuation, all this will be needed, sir. Theory means what, sir? We will go to the method of valuation also. But in Excel, though, as I told you, sir, Excel, I can show you certain Excel document. I already highlighted the valuation report of that Citizen Watch. In that calculation was there. But all projection that actually will be different in each situation, each purpose, each patent. So what are your expectations, sir? If that is clear, I may actually in balance time, I can go accordingly, sir. Singh, sir. Are you there, Singh, sir? Since you have asked the question.
Yogesh, I do concur with him as we are covering the theory part, which is, of course, very excellent. So we should know the background of needs, then necessity of evaluation and prerequisites. At the same time, since we have got only half an hour to go, say I think we better switch over to the valuation part. I mean the methods, then approaches, etc.
Okay, so we will start with this market approach for evaluation of patent. Will that be fine? That was actually in subsequent slide only, sir.
Okay.
So a market approach for
Yeah,
evaluation.
let's say in the duration of the this particular session should have been at least 3 to 4 hours, so that we will better digest and you can have very wide coverage, which is very much appreciated. But unfortunately, we got only 2 hours of this session.
Okay, so we will actually go to the actual approaches to evaluation. So as we all are aware, there are three approaches to valuation which are globally recognized. And these are for all types of valuation. So if we start with the market approach, the relative approach of valuation based on comparable, based on multiple. I will just highlight actually the methods of that. So identification of comparable patent transaction. So a transaction database search. So there are many a database which will provide you the details of transaction which are actually undertaken in a patent. So that based on that we can arrive at the value. So utilize specialized patent transaction database to find the recent transaction involving a similar patent, and look for patent in the same industry with a similar technological application and at a similar stages of development. Then a public record and licensing arrangement, a licensing agreement. So a public record like press release, industry report, many listed entity actually in their filing with the stock exchanges, you will come across the licensing agreement detail. So that is a public record and anybody can access that. So as well as available licensing agreement to identify the relevant transaction. Most of these will remain confidential in nature, we all know. But wherever we come across actually industry report and all, so we may explore the possibility. And patent auction. So there are marketplaces which conduct e-auction of a patent. So consider data from patent auction wherever available, as they can provide additional insight into a market pricing. And a selection and adjustment for a comparable, which is very needed because patents, as we all are aware, that is granted for a novel idea. So no two patent you can regard actually 100% matching. To be on a lighter side in our life also, we have one complaint, we do not have the ideal match. So in actually patent also, or in any other type of valuation, you will not come across 100% match when you are doing the evaluation going by the market approach. So always you need the adjustment of comparable. So that will ensure that selected transaction involve a patent with comparable technological scope, market potential, and geographic coverage, and adjustment for a difference. So a technological relevance. So adjust for a difference in the scope of technology or a potential market approach. Okay, so this is just for a feedback. Technological relevance, like that adjustment for a patent life. So account for the remaining useful life of the patent compared to the comparable market condition. So adjust for changes in market condition between the time of comparable transaction and evaluation date, and legal status. So consider adjustment for any difference in legal status of the patent, like litigation history or enforceability issue. So these are just issues for adjustment. These are components of adjustment or consideration for adjustment. These are highlighted on illustrative basis only. So this may not be a comprehensive list of adjustment which are needed. So based on the evaluation of each patent, we may need other consideration also. Again, I will repeat, these are novel in nature. Each patent is granted for a new innovation, so that is unique in nature. And what purpose you are doing the evaluation for at what time you are doing the evaluation, what is the level of comparable, all that will determine the adjustment. Then actually means valuation multiples. So revenue multiple, so compute the multiple based on a revenue generated by the patented technology in a comparable transaction, like price to revenue, and that will be useful when patent directly contribute to the identifiable revenue stream. So if we all know, actually very challenging to identify the revenue stream from a particular asset like a patent, but wherever it is possible to actually identify the revenue stream which is which is related to a patent, so we can do that, maybe not, if not actual, maybe on estimation basis. Wherever feasible, we need to actually explore a possibility of that. Earning multiple, so use price to earning multiple
Sir,
yeah,
sir,
go ahead.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Sir, it's 9 o'clock. We were just thinking we will have, some break. 1 minute. We will have an announcements and then you can proceed, sir.
No issue, madam. Go ahead, madam.
Yeah. So I take this opportunity to intimate all the participants about a physical session being held by BVA on 3rd August 2024 at Marriott Hotel, Rajajinagar. I appeal to everyone to register themselves. It's going to be very exciting and interesting session on market approach, structures, deals, brand valuation, and panel discussion on both startup and general challenges faced by valuers. The flyer is out. It's being shared yesterday also in the group. I appeal to everyone to register. And Vijay is available, our admin, for any of the doubts you have with respect to registration. Mr. Yogesh sir, you and your friends, I request you to register for the physical event. That way we can personally meet up as well.
Yeah. So I will try,
And,
madam.
and also, yes, I know my name is Kusum, and on behalf of BBA committee, I would also participants to post their queries, to Vijaya or in the group, so that this will be addressed by the panelists during the discussion. So if you are facing any challenges when you are doing a particular assignment, you could please, let us know. We will be more than happy to act as an intermediary between, the experts and the professionals, and ensure that appropriate guidance is made available to them. It will truly help all the professionals if they take time off and participate, and also network with other fellow professionals.
Yes. Please post your queries to our admin, Vijaya. Mr. Ravindra, are you there? Can you hear me? You have anything to say? Okay, no problem. Yes, Mr. Yogesh, you can continue the session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, madam. So earning a multiple we covered, a royalty rate. So derive the implied royalty rate from a licensing agreement and apply them to the projected revenue stream of the patent being valued. And cost saving a multiple. So where a patent leads to cost saving, derive a multiple based on a cost saving realized in a comparable transaction. Any question, Rajiv sir?
1-2 बजे 1-6 बजे
Vijaya, mute Rajiv, no? Rajiv Dingra.
May I request all participants, please mute whenever you are not talking. If you have any question, you are welcome to ask, unmute yourself. But whenever you are not talking, please mute yourself. So application of multiple to the subject patent, revenue-based approach. project the revenue attributable to the patented technology, and apply the derived price to a revenue multiple to project the revenue. So these are the actually how to make use of multiple. So as we discussed, there are three types of multiple. The either that will be the revenue based multiple, or earning based multiple, or a royalty based multiple. So royalty based will actually involve a costing also. So that is actually the application of a multiple through the subject pattern. And what are the challenges under market approach? So market approach, as we all are aware, based on the historical data, that is not a forward looking. That is not forward looking. So that is actually in majority of the cases, we apply the comparable, we apply the multiple, but whether actually history will repeat itself, that is the consideration we always need to make. That is number one. That is not forward looking in nature. So wherever actually we make a valuation of a patent going by the market multiple, but since it is a new invention, the subject patent, or the target patent, or patent for which we are doing the evaluation. So that is new innovation, and probably that may be accepted by the consumers widely than the patent which was accepted in the market in the past. So that is not actually, history may not repeat itself. That also we need to consider whenever we are doing the evaluation under the market approach. So although we know around 80 to 90% evaluation today, that actually primary method of valuation, that is the market approach, but that may not be useful at all the scenarios. So lack of comparable transaction. So as we discussed, uniqueness of patent, limited data, that is always challenge when we do the valuation of market patent. Actually, whatever data we come across, maybe from the data sources, whether that is authentic or not, that will always remain actually questionable. That will always remain a matter of speculation. Adjustment for differences. So that is judgmental in nature, that is subjective in nature. As we discussed, there will not be actually 100% match anywhere in a, valuation scenario. So adjustment for differences, that actually always challenging, always subjective, always judgmental. So technological differences, remaining patent life, market condition. Today, actually, we are going through the unfavorable market condition, but tomorrow that may improve also. So if I am taking a comparable either from favorable market condition or unfavorable market condition, that may not help actually. Ideal market condition, that is in theory, practically we may not have that. So that adjustment for differences as per market condition, that will always be a challenge. Revenue attribution. So a revenue isolation, we discussed that actually revenue stream related to that patent. So that will actually a very means challenging whenever we are doing by the multiple, as we discussed in the previous slide. And legal and regulatory issues, not easy to get justice in today's world. So patent validity and enforceability, litigation history, economic and industry factor. Each industry, as we actually, if we go by a GICS, the Global Industrial Classification Standard. So there are 11 sector, and under this 11 sector, there are actually more than 100 industry, 100 plus industries, and under this 100 plus industries, there are 180 plus sub-industry group. So we all will understand, appreciate the characteristics of each of these will be different. So in that actually to determine industry specific dynamic, that will always remain the challenge. So these are the challenges under the market approach. Then similarly, the royalty rate estimation, intangible qualitative factor, the valuation, as we all are aware, that is not solely based on quantitative factor. We need to actually consider qualitative factor also. So market perception, synergies, strategic fit, all that actually will be judgmental, and that will pose challenges. Data reliability and transparency, we all already discussed that. Data quality transparency issue, and of course any type of valuation that is subjective or judgmental. So that is the market approach, and these are the advantage and disadvantage of the market approach. Income approach. So as we all are aware, under IVS 210, International Valuation Standard 210, there are 5 methods of valuation for intangible asset under the income approach. So if we go one by one, actually, as we all are aware, a majority of the valuation of intangible asset, including the IPR, intellectual property right, that is accomplished through the income approach. So a very important use of income approach. So if we go by this multi-period excess earning method, so that will need actually us to identify the income stream, determine income directly attributable to the patent, and a projection of future cash flow. So forecast revenue, cost saving, incremental income over a patent's useful life. Then a contributory asset charge. We all know in multi-period excess earning method, actually we reduce the contributory asset charge. As we all are aware, any production activity, any manufacturing activity, that is a contribution from all asset, like fixed asset, working capital, the intangible asset, and within intangible asset also the specific intangible asset. So each will contribute in the manufacturing activity, each will contribute in the production activity. So we need to actually reduce the contributory asset charge, like fixed asset charge, working capital charge, intangible asset other than the subject asset or target asset charge. So that all that we need to do. So reduce the return on contributory asset to isolate excess earning generated by the patent. That is how it is excess earning method. And request to explain through some Excel example. So just give me a minute, since you are insisting. I will take you in the Excel sheet. Just 1 minute. Hai na? I need to actually take this from my laptop. It may take 1 or 2 minutes. See, as we all are aware, these five methods under the income approach of valuation of intangible. Maybe it is a MEAM, that is multi-period excess earning method, or a relief from a royalty method, a relief from a royalty method, or actually if that is premium method, or a with or a without method, with or without a method, or that is distributor method, or that is greenfield method. So these are nothing but modified DCF method only, a modified DCF method only. So concept will remain same. What we do in a DCF, we make estimate of the future case inflow and outflow, and then what we do actually in DCF, what we do, we estimate the or we project the future case inflows and outflow, and then since these cash flows are accruing at a different timeline, what we do, we actually convert those case inflow and outflow to its present value, because the cash flow accruing at year end 1, year end 2, year end 3, year end 4, that actually are not comparable. We all will appreciate that will not be comparable. So what we do, we bring those to its present value time zero. And how we bring that? So that is through a discounting, and a discounting will need the a discount rate. So that discount rate, as we already actually discussed, there are two components. The two component of that is the time value of money, and a risk which is associated with accrual of those cash flow. So that is the basic philosophy of basic philosophy of the DCF, and that will not change in these also in evaluation of intangible also. So here, supposing this subject intangible, I hope my this thing is visible to each one of you. Subject intangible, that is patent, and this total revenue, so that is 100 crore. That is actually in year zero. These are the assumption. Year zero, that is 100 crore, and growth in revenue, so that is estimated at 10% year on year. Economic life, that is assumed at 10 year. Tax rate is assumed at 30%, a discounting rate assumed at 12%, royalty rate assumed at 14% of the revenue, a maintenance cost of license, so that is estimated at 5% of revenue, and a mid-year convention. Year end mid-year conventions are followed. So these are actually these are the revenue, the estimated revenue. So that is actually, as we can see, growing at 10%. But this is, I will say, I will highlight, this is just for a knowledge sharing academic purpose. In a reality, actually, it may not be 10% year on year. Estimation of this in a different year, that is challenging. It may happen that in the earlier year, this may be actually, this may be high, growth rate may be high, but as time passes, the growth rate will come down. So we should need to have the a different growth rate. And then royalty, so that is actually a calculation is 14%. That is assumption, but in reality, it is challenging to determine the exact royalty rate, exact royalty rate. And so that is here estimated, that is formula driven. As I informed you, once you are actually able to make this assumption, this calculation is nothing but clerical work. So
One
that is
small
actually.
interruption, Yogesh ji. I think there are some databases which inform the royalty rates, which publish the royalty rates.
Yes, sir. There are many
Yes, I think
databases from
that
where you can get.
we can find out, say, what is the royalty rate payable for a particular product or a particular industry.
So, sir, that is actually, you will appreciate that is subscription based. You will not come across those database free of cost. So that actually, I have not paid the subscription for that, sir. Let me make that clear. So that is based on, because we need to have our cost benefit analysis. These are actually mainly vendors are foreign vendors, so they charge in foreign currency. So exchange rate itself is very high. So we can get excess of that, but that is at a cost, sir. And once we
And
get excess, so that is
for
actually.
Mr. Himanshu, how is the maintenance rate decided?
So a royalty, actually maintenance rate estimate of that will be given by the legal team. So what will be the cost of litigation? What will be the cost of renewal? What will be the cost of actually maintaining or defending the patent? Like if we want to file the legal suit for infringement, so what will be the cost involved in that? So all that will be part of the maintenance cost, sir. All that will be a part of the maintenance cost. And for royalty, sir, so there is no defined methodology. As per my knowledge, there is no defined methodology to compute the royalty rate. You need to necessarily rely on the database for that, or if any a publicly available document like mining we are aware what is the royalty rate. So this is just example I am giving. Mining industry, if any patent is there, maybe through public sources you may get the data source. Pharmaceutical, that is actually patents are very widespread in that, and each type of drug composition you will appreciate that is different, that is not identical. So that you need to rely on actually the databases for that, or if you come across certain evaluation report of past valuation, so you may actually make use of that. So I hope that is useful, Himanshu ji or Siva Prasad sir. Any further information you need?
Thank you.
So a maintenance cost, royalty cost, that will give you the net revenue before tax, and then a tax actually you need to have, and that will give you the excess earning after tax, and you need to have this time factor since we have gone by the media convention. So accordingly, you need to adjust the time factor and arrive at the valuation. And this is actually, apart from that, there are a similar type of these calculations are there. This is just for actually the this is just for knowledge sharing purpose, the method which we can have. So with that, actually, I will end here since actually I today is a weekly off, so I don't want to actually take it further. I don't want to take your much time. So I will end here, and I will make sure I will forward this PPT to the organizer of this event to you. And I thank each one of you for your attention throughout this session and making that interactive. So before we end, if you have any question related to whatever we covered, so questions are welcome. Otherwise, we will end this session here.
What are the most popular methods or most used methods?
So, sir, as I informed you, majority of the intangible asset are actually valued taking the income approach. So under income approach, IVS 210, there are five methods for evaluation of intangible, including this IPR, patent, trademark, and all. So that is actually used widely. But wherever actually, as I informed you, patent, supposing we can take an example of vaccination in COVID time, as we all are aware, actually need of a vaccine. So a limited company actually came forward with the vaccine, and then what they did, they actually given that technology on patent for manufacturing, because vast manufacturing or production of vaccine was needed at that time in a very very short duration. So they have given the license. So once actually they have given the license, those details will be available, license agreement with the data provider or from that particular company. So based on that, we can arrive at the a value of patent going by the market approach. And cost approach, so that is residual. Actually, patent will need the R&D cost. Patent will need the actually cost for making application, a payment of application fee, a litigation involved in that. So through that also we can arrive at the value of patent. So that actually these are the ways of doing that, sir.
Can we assume that, say, under DCF method, MIM and relief from royalty are most used methods, or there any other?
So, sir, actually, in my presentation, let me again take you through my PPT. So, when to use which method, that also I have highlighted. So, a patent suitable for a multi-period excess earning method. So, patent integrated into a business where it is essential to separate the patent's contribution from other assets. So, in that, this multi-period excess earning will be required, and what are the considerations? So that will require detailed financial data to allocate income and expenses to the patent, and that is best for a mature patent with predictable income stream. So that is also I have highlighted which method relief from royalty. So that is suitable with well-defined licensing potential or established royalty agreement. So useful when there is a clear market for licensing the patent. So each of the method I have highlighted that, sir. So probably you will get that information from these PPTs. And these are the challenges under the income approach, advantages, disadvantages, then cost approach, and then we have this trademark evaluation. So brief about that is also given. So that will reply to your query, Shiv Prasad sir. Any further questions, sir?
No. And one of the participants needs your contact number so that he will contact you personally.
Okay, okay. So I have noted down this in the chat box, sir.
Yeah. Sir, thank you, Yogesh ji, for the wonderful session. And you have taken us through collaborative effort across teams, and how to maximize the patent value, key considerations before patent valuation, market approach for valuation of patents, and lastly, you have also covered which method is suitable actually. And you have nicely taken us through. Hope the PPT would be available to us for to go through, and then get to know in depth as to which method to be applied. We thank you so much, sir, on behalf of BAV. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yogesh, thank you very much for taking this session. And it is more like a research paper than simply a presentation. Thank you for your excellent presentation, and I think it will be very much useful for all the participants and the members of the BVA, and particularly to the budding professionals who do not have much experience in the field of valuation. And as a matter of our gratitude for your human services for this today's session, we thank you, and we will courier you one memento on from the BVA. It will be soon sent to you by courier. And again, I remind you all participants that as a BVA is going to organize one day session in Bangalore at Marriott Hotel on next Saturday, that is 3rd August 2024. And I request you to, one of you to not only to attend, to advise your friends to attend it, because it will be a power-packed session with experienced experienced valuers who can throw light on several very useful topics like startups, then market approach, etc. As already told by our president, Ms. Shilpa. And with this, we conclude this session. And Mr. Yogesh, we look forward for your some more sessions in future for enlightening the members. Thank you.
you, sir. Thank you.
Vijay, now you can stop the recording.